Hi there, this is Allison with Let's Go Travel Tips. Today is Thursday, it's July 14th of 2022, and we have a lot to talk about today. And it's a lot of separate, different topics that I think are going to be really helpful for anyone who is trying to decide if they want to book a cruise right now or if you've got one booked. And like I always say, for everyone who just likes to talk about cruising. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. It will help us out, and I think it will help you out as well. So first of all, I wanted to start off by saying yesterday, I apologize if I didn't seem like I was tickled pink with Don. I very much admire Don. Gordon and I don't miss a show. We thoroughly enjoy his channel, and I would honestly say we even enjoyed it extra during the pandemic because we would be busy working and we would always take lunch together since Gordon was working home. On the days I didn't have to go, we would sit down and eat our lunch and listen to what he had to say about things, and Tony as well. And it really was wonderful, I think, to keep the conversation moving when no one was sailing. And I really have learned a lot from him. So I just wanted to say that. And I also wanted to say that, of course, Don is not the original source for anything other than his own experience. And the same is with me and with everyone else who does this. We can all share with you information that we get and our take on it. But so I would expect that when you hear something from me, that would be a jumping off point for you. You can always ask me more questions, but like with the testing or with anything else, that leads you to go ahead and find out about it yourself so that you don't miss it for a cruise. And that kind of applies to everything. We all try to share our experiences to help each other out, and that was one of my goals here with our Let's Go family, so that between us all, we would all know what to expect, kind of what to be prepared for. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone was really clear on that. The other thing that I wanted to tell you all is I have gotten several questions in emails and a comment that wasn't as kind as it could be, but I wanted to let you know where you find that information that I told you all about yesterday regarding saying that if you are going to go on a cruise that leaves from Canada, returns to Canada, or calls in Canada, about that 2-day testing requirement. Now, I know that in another place on the Princess website, they say you get 3 days, but let me tell you how to get to where it says 2 days. And so when I just went on Holland America's Koningsdam, I did my test, of course, within 2 days because I was leaving from Canada. But if I were sailing out of Seattle or anywhere else, I would do my test within 2 days as well, because you never know which part they're going to interpret. And I'd love to hear from some of you who have been sailing from those ports this year as well. But I would also like to point out that sometimes things change, and what they require one day can be a little bit different from another day. And as long as most of those requirements are listed in their COVID health protocols, I think either one of them can be called upon to apply. So when you go to princess.com, across the top is this dark gray banner. Click on Health Protocols. That's going to bring you to a page where you can choose if you want to learn about sailings from the United States and Canada, from the UK, from Europe, and from Australia right now. Those are the ones that are offered. By the way, there is nothing out on sailings from South America right now for my people who are sailing to Antarctica this coming winter. So anyway, you go to that, and then you choose to click on the one that is sailings from the US and Canada. So once you get to that page, as you scroll down, you're going to see all of these FAQ topics, and every single one of them is a drop down, and there is one that says, like, am I able to sail with my family? Click on that one, drop down, and you will read those words. That's right where it is on the Princess Protocol page. And I wanted to also tell you all, just to make it super clear, that when I tell you things like that, I have Princess's information here. I don't take anybody else's. I don't use a secondary source on that. I just use what princess.com is. When I talk to you about Holland America, I just use their information. So I just wanted to make sure that you all know that. And I really appreciate you watching our videos, being with us. I appreciate all your comments. If you don't get where I got something, I don't mind at all when you kindly ask me. I don't mind when you crankily ask me either, but anyway, so just go ahead and let me know if you've got questions, but that is where you find that information. Alrighty, so now we're going to go into some other things that we need to talk about. First of all, let's talk about Quantum of the Seas Royal Caribbean ship sailing in Alaska this summer. As we have been hearing for the last couple of weeks, she has developed some engine problems. They were set to sail to the Endicott Dawes Glacier, that whole Endicott Arm and Dawes Glacier, this summer season, but for the last few weeks, due to the engine problem, they have not been able to make that call. I know this for sure because we've got amazing Let's Go family members who are so kind to let me know what's going on when they're on the ship. So Royal Caribbean announced at the end of last week that they are going to have to make that change to the itinerary to not go to that glacier until at least through the third sailing of this August, which is the August 1st, August 8th, and August 15th are the three sailings that are the first three sailings on the Quantum of the Seas in August. So from now through then at least, they're not going to be able to make calls at that glacier. They do cite that everything is going really smoothly still. They're not endangering anyone. The ship just has to go a little bit slower. They also said that another engine is coming up and needing some routine maintenance, and so that is going to compound a little bit of the trouble. They cite the global supply chain problems as why it's taking them longer to get the parts that they need in order to fix the engine. But I really appreciate that they, when this first happened, they offered some onboard credit. But in this notice that our Let's Go family member was so kind to send to me, they are saying that it says, to help make up for these changes, we've increased the compensation offered. You will now receive 1 full day of credit, of cruise fare paid per person, so a whole day of credit as onboard credit. And if you get done with that cruise and you have not used that onboard credit, they are going to refund it to you, which is great. They'll just put it back on that credit card that you have attached to your onboard account there. And so the other thing that I want to read to you, it says, while we can't wait to set sail with you, we understand this was an unexpected change. Should you no longer wish to sail or want to change your sail date, please contact your travel advisor or give us a call by July 17th. So today is the 14th, and so you've still got a couple of days to do this. You'll receive a full refund of any unpaid portion of your cruise in the original form of payment, including non-refundable deposits and any prepaid amenities within 14 business days, or we can help you move your funds towards a new sailing. And so I think that this is great. They're doing everything that they can to be able to make up for an unexpected change. Now, our Let's Go family member who was so kind to send this to me, they decided that they were going to go ahead and move their sailing over to go after, like at the end of August. They've got an August 26th sailing, so they are going to go ahead and go on that instead of going on the one that was earlier during the time that the engines are expected to be going slower. Now, as we have learned before, you never know. Maybe by the time the end of August comes around, the ship will still be going slow, or maybe it will be repaired even sooner. So I wanted, though, to make sure that all of you are very aware of this. If you're thinking of booking on the Quantum of the Seas, or if you've got a cruise booked, I didn't want you to miss what's going on, because I don't want you to miss that deadline if you want to move your sailing around a little bit. So thank you very much. That was from Colleen. So thank you, Colleen. I really appreciate you. Now, another thing. So now this is just a little bit of some random things, but I think they're very valuable. And so I want, let me share the first thing with you here. I have been hearing from other people, and now we're to the point, I think I should remind you all that it sounds like it is getting harder to get an exemption to sail if you are not vaccinated. Not because they aren't giving them, but because here on the sailings from the United States, they have to stick with what the CDC is allowing, and right now at least 90% need to be vaccinated of the people who are sailing, and so they've only got 10% that they can give out. And we've got a Let's Go family member here, and she said that she and her husband are booked on their 5th pre-scheduled cruise since April of 2020. They are booked into the December 28th, a 10-day Mexico cruise through Princess. They are not vaccinated, and they are still hoping that they are going to be able to get an exemption because as of right now, there are not any left that are available on their sailing. And it says, we hope to get on, as it has been said, that we cannot roll over our bonus points to 2023. Now, let me tell you a couple of things about that. First of all, you know what? If you are in the situation of you're not vaccinated and you're going to need an exemption, like start booking those cruises and find out what you can get an exemption for sooner than later, because a lot more people are sailing than were when the restart first happened. The second thing is I am really excited, Patty. If you are not able to go, let us know what happens with your future cruise credits, because a lot of people are telling me those are not getting moved to next year, and some of them can be some pretty dire reasons, and they are not being allowed to move them to next year. So keep all of that in mind. If you have got future cruise credits, check on them. See what the deadline is that they need to be booked by and sailed by, and don't miss your chance to go. Okay, so I felt like that was really valuable for everyone. Another thing is I got an email from a new Let's Go family member. And they are new because they missed me talking about this. If you test positive for COVID and you have got a cruise booked within the next 90 days, go get an official lab report for your positive COVID test. If you do it at home and it says positive, either use one of those tests that you order from eMed or Optum and do it with a video call so that you've got your official results, or go to your Walgreens, your CVS, your Instacare, wherever it is that you want to go, so that you have got that official report, because you need that in order to be able to board the ship. That is what Princess requires. So if you if you don't have that and you are still testing positive, you're not going to be able to go because you're going to have a positive COVID test. But if you have had COVID within the last 90 days and it's been longer than at least 10 days, you don't have to do a COVID test. You can bring a copy of that official lab results showing that you tested positive. They'll talk to you in the medical center of the ship and make sure that you really are fully recovered and don't have any symptoms, and then you'll be able to go on the sailing. But if you don't have that and you're testing positive, it's a problem. So make sure that everybody is really clear on that. I know that COVID is going around like crazy right now, and so there might be a lot of people that end up in that bucket. So make sure that you get that official lab result. And the other thing is I would say, if you're not feeling good and you have got a cruise in that window, go get tested. Because you don't want to have COVID and then not know that you've got COVID, and then you find out you're testing positive when it's time to test for your cruise, but you had it a while ago and didn't even realize. Does that make sense? So really stay on top of that requirement. I think it's going to just be really important and really tricky until we get through I don't know, having so many variants with COVID, I don't know. And as long as that testing is required. It's also another really great reminder for you, and this, I promise, is not, well, I always love it when y'all watch my videos. I appreciate your support, your love, your comments are amazing. Thank you. But if you are new around here, I would go back at least a month maybe and start catching up on what is going on in cruising right now. There is so much going on, and every day I really narrow down what I need to tell you about. But like what's in the title and in the thumbnail, the little picture there on YouTube, it doesn't begin to cover everything I talk about usually. So go back through and just make sure that you go through everything so that it's in your mind so that you can check into whatever you need to check in. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to remind everybody about is I'm going to do a whole video about this, but I felt like it was really important to mention it here really quick. So we've got the whole testing thing going on, and we've got so much going on with COVID right now, as I just mentioned with that other thing. So I wanted to make sure, first of all, I'm getting a lot of questions from people asking where you upload your negative COVID test into the Medallion Class app. As I've mentioned, my Medallion Class app isn't working right now, but with the place that you do it is, when you first log in and you're preparing to go on a cruise, it's that first section. What is it? Travel Ready, I think. If you go and click on that and then go through every one of the little drop down things, it's in there somewhere. And it's not going to, it's going to have a little red thing, I think it is, until you do that. So just go through that section and click through everything, and you'll be able to find where to upload your negative COVID test. Okay. And that's in the same area where you upload a photo of your vaccine card. If you haven't sailed with Princess since they made that update to the app, that's what you've got to do. Okay. The other thing to remind you is that just putting this out there about the testing to go on a cruise. I have told you all lots of options to get tested, but it's your responsibility here to follow up and make sure that you can get your test results back fast enough to have them in order to sail. The cruise line's Princess does say that if you are fully vaccinated and you have proof that you had a COVID test done and haven't gotten the results back, they'll do another COVID test for you at embarkation. However, be aware that some places are not going to get them back to you within 2 days or sometimes 3 days. I hear so many different reports on how long it takes Walgreens. I think some of it does depend on how busy they are with testing right then. But that's why Gordon and I love those eMed and Optum tests, and I don't own stock in them. I don't get anything, just so you know, when you buy those. But you just do it whenever you want, when it's time, with a video call there. And we have always had our test results just like that. Like they say they take up to 15 minutes. It's never taken 15 minutes. We do the test, then I go throw away the test stuff. I check my email, and it's there. That is how fast you get those test results. And it takes all of the worry out of it. You can take them anywhere in the world with you. And all you need is an internet connection in order to be able to do them. Okay, so keep that in mind and beware of that. The next thing is I have had several people saying how expensive the testing is. And it just jogged my memory about this when one of our Let's Go family members said $129 is really ridiculous or something in their comment. And it's increasing the cost of cruising. I wanted to let you know that when we order those tests from eMed, I think they're like 2 for $69.99. And that includes the video call test. But you can also, like Radius is one that Princess cites. Those are $45. They've got the DocGo option that you can sign up for and be tested right there at the port. That's $60. And then also on Princess's website, they talk about what the charges are going to be, especially for people who are not vaccinated. So if you have to have a test, like I said, through DocGo, that's $60. And then a test at the terminal as you're going to board is also $60. If you're not if you're someone that's required to have a test right there, that's $60. And then if you are on your cruise and any of the port authorities in the places you are visiting require a test from unvaccinated people to go ashore, that's $10. And then if you, for any reason where you are disembarking, need a COVID test to disembark, that's $10 as well. I think that's really affordable with just what we're seeing in pricing right now. And so I just wanted to put that out there that, and you know, I put in the comment to ask him who he's sailing with. I don't know how much other cruise lines are because I don't really follow it closely. I need to start following that for you all. I'll work on that. Now, here's another update for you, and I was going to save it for my Easy Air video, but I think it's really important that you all know this. So, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Salt Lake City is like kind of a hub for a lot of flights, especially in the Intermountain West area, out of in order to go to a lot of international places, as well as like from here to JFK and then connecting on to Europe or San Francisco and on, you know, LA. There's all these things. Anyway, there are a lot of flights that come here and then people depart on an international flight. And I have seen this a few times, just little news blurbs about this airline having trouble. But now we have, there was a news story that I picked up today about a couple that was flying from Salt Lake to go to Europe to get on a river cruise, and they got there late because this airline is not flying the flights the way they've advertised them. So people keep being late. And so the name of the airlines is called Eurowings, Eurowings. They're actually a subsidiary of Lufthansa. And so what they have been doing is they are supposed to be flying, they advertise it as nonstop from Salt Lake City to Frankfurt, Germany. But they keep stopping along the way in these unscheduled stops. They keep stopping in Halifax, and then just the other day it stopped in Toronto instead. And it seems a little bit fishy to me because when asked about it, they say, quote, "The fuel stop in Halifax becomes necessary under certain weather conditions, strong heat or wind at the time. Our pilots evaluate the weather conditions before each and every flight to decide whether a fuel stop in Halifax is needed or not. The fuel stop due to weather is still an they call it an exception, but it keeps happening over and over again. And people are ending up being in Halifax longer than they expected, in anywhere they stop, and it is slowing people down. So these people that were in this particular news story ended up getting over to get on their river cruise like days late, and then their luggage arrived on the boat 3.5 days after they did. So why am I telling you this? Don't book a flight on that airlines, because you're going to be late. And every once in a while, they actually fly from Salt Lake to Frankfurt the way they're supposed to, but I think that it's a little bit fishy that they're stopping, because all of these other international flights are flying just fine from Salt Lake or from LA over to where they're going. So I think that this story about having to check the weather and the flight conditions are an excuse for something else that's going on. And so just putting that out there, don't let yourself be booked on that, and don't book yourself on that flight. Now tomorrow I've about got everything together for my Easy Air flights video, the pros and the cons, but I have a warning for you. And this kind of goes with the thing of stay up to date with my videos. Things change. You can go back and see, I would say, you can watch our travel vlogs anytime, any of our excursion videos, but just keep an eye on, if you watch some of the older ones from like the beginning of the year, or even, the last few months, you have to stay up to date because so many things change. I felt really bad. A Let's Go family member posted that they had followed my advice and booked their flights through Princess Easy Air, and it has turned into a huge mess. And so I admit, I always recommended Princess Easy Air until we went on our trip to Europe just at the end of May and had such trouble with Princess Easy Air. Ever since then, I have warned you about Princess Easy Air. It doesn't mean that you should never book with them. And honestly, like I said before, we went on there 13 different cruises all over the world, and never in the US, and never had trouble with our Princess Easy Air flights. So I think that the trouble that they're having now is a combination of, we've got a lot of flights being canceled all at once, and Princess is trying to hold on to their money as long as they can, which I think a lot of the cruise lines are also doing, and they are short on staff. I think you put all of that together and we have a huge mess. So this Let's Go family member said they were due to fly on Air Canada, and like I mentioned to you, I think it was sometime last week, Air Canada has been canceling a lot of their flights, and so this person has had to be on the phone like with over 3 hours, 5 times, trying to get their flights straightened out. And every day they just give them another Air Canada flight, and then that night they disappear, and then they have to call again the next day. And so let me tell you right now, stay up to date on what's going on in the news, but also really be aware that there is so much going on. And if you want to have control of your flights, you need to book your flights. And so I don't think that these flights canceling overnight is all Princess, and I don't think it's all Air Canada. I think it's a mess. They announced that they were cutting down flights. Heathrow Airport today announced that they are limiting the number of air passengers coming into Heathrow. I didn't catch how long that's through, but to 100,000 a day. So they are asking the airlines to please not schedule any more flights that they have already got scheduled, and I am wondering if they're going to have some cancellations in order to meet that cap in Heathrow. Heathrow is very short-staffed. They're having a really hard time keeping up with everything to do, luggage, everything to do with people flying in. So be aware of that if you're scheduled to go, and that's been ongoing, so for months now. And so if you're scheduled to fly into Heathrow, keep that in mind. If you are going somewhere in Europe and you can fly through somewhere else, I would, because we hear the most trouble with Heathrow right now. So I just wanted to bring all of this news to you so that you can kind of really think about how you book your flights right now, and just pay attention to things that used to be really easy. It used to be that you would just put in your flight with Princess Easy Air. It would maybe change by up to an hour either direction a little bit, maybe depart a little earlier, a little later. It was no big deal. But now things have changed, and so keep your eye out for my video, and I will just talk to you. There are a lot of really great perks about booking with Princess Easy Air. Do I recommend it right now? No. No, but you know what? This is wonderful thing about all this. Y'all can do whatever you would like, and some things that work really well for some people don't really work well for other people, and there's a lot to be considered there. So I've been trying to think of everything I can think of to do with that. I would really appreciate hearing from all of you on that as well, what your experiences have been. and any suggestions that you've got for people. Our comments are a great place, and I always love hearing from all of you. Remember that if you haven't subscribed yet, we would love it if you would subscribe. If you appreciate these updates, would you please give this video a thumbs up? I really do look forward to hearing from all of you. I'll be talking to you all again really soon. You all take really good care. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.